the daughter of poor Mexican immigrants. My father is a proud union member. I was a Clinton intern. I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. My mother came to this country when she was pregnant with me. My dad was already living in the States working for our family, and she was determined to come here by any means necessary. Till this day, she won't tell me if that was legally or illegally. In a way, I don't really care. She was determined that I be a citizen of the United States. Yes, now, my dad, he was a union worker who worked long hours in the steel mills of Gary, Indiana. He woke up every single day at 4 a.m., traveled an hour and a half to the steel mills so he could give my siblings and myself a better life. I'm a proud Latina who grew up on the south side of Chicago, who was told I needed to vote Democrat. And why wouldn't I? I was a Chicago South Sider. And if any of you have ever been to the Chicago South Side, that's just what you do, okay? I didn't know any Republicans until I went to college. And I was told that Republicans were wealthy, not Latino, and didn't care about people like me. And I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. This is the first time I'm talking about me, I guess in a way, converting. So you'll just have to bear with me. I even interned for former President Clinton when I was in college. And it was when I was interning at the White House that I began to notice a couple things. I began to see that maybe some of the liberal ideologies that I had heard should be questioned. As far as I could tell, and there were a lot of interns at the White House, I was one of very, very few Latino interns at the White House. Most of my counterparts were wealthy and not Latino. They were children of privilege. Their parents had donated to political campaigns, and their parents had chaired political committees. I, on the other hand, was interning in the White House in dresses mi mama had made for me because I couldn't afford suits like they had. Did these Democrats understand what it meant to be Latino more than the Republicans? I don't know. But when I interned in the Clinton administration, I also went to the expensive fundraisers as an intern to work the events. I could never actually afford to go, but I was working the events. And you know what I started to see? That the limousine liberals seemed a lot like the conservatives I was told to fear. Yet I could reconcile what I saw and what I experienced, because this group told me my whole life that I was one of them. I was Latina, and they would take care of me. But really what I began to see with this was that they were asking me to vote against the values that my mom, my grandma, my family, what they had taught me, what they've probably taught all of us. And there was something that I could not reconcile. Why was a party who I thought protected those who needed to be protected the most not protecting the unborn? I could never understand how my party, the Democrat Party that I loved, who I told took care of people like me, did not seem to care that millions of children are murdered every year because of abortion. When I was a student at Northwestern, I joined the Latino group and actively worked to promote its goals. At times, I was told by my peers and by my professors that the conservative values that we were taught by our families should come second to liberal ideologies. So that's sort of when I stopped and paused and said, okay, I won't let people who are afraid to drive through my neighborhood tell me what it means to be Latino and how to vote.
Oh.
But you know what makes me really sad? I think what makes me sad, and part of the reason that I'm shaking up here, I don't think it's because I'm nervous about those convictions. I think I really feel them. I'm sure like all of us do. I think what makes me the most nervous is because it's scary to be up here because people will think of you a certain way. People will call you a sellout, especially when they say, well, how can you be conservative and Latino and associate yourself with those issues, right? Sorry, that's my son. He's not happy to see me up here. So So at the end of the day, I don't know how much time I have left, but it won't matter that I've gone to the marchas. It won't matter that I've dedicated much of my undergraduate and graduate career to helping immigrant students. It won't matter that my husband and I every week spend way too many hours working on raising money for the immigrants in our community. It won't matter that, I don't know, my dad has a second or third grade education, and that somehow he and my mom, I still don't know how, that somehow they were able to put 4 kids through Catholic education, and that the 4 of us went to college, you know, in a really bad neighborhood. You know, this is the kind of neighborhood where it's much more normal for people not to graduate from high school. It's much more normal for, you know, unfortunately for myself and for my siblings to have lost friends to violence growing up. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think I'm okay with people criticizing me. And I think that it's because I ask myself, does the fact that we want to vote our values all of a sudden mean that we're less Latino? I mean, I don't think so. My skin didn't change. You know, it's the same one. I'm not less fluent in Spanish. And my family history, our family's history, it's the same. So to me, the real enemy is a group of people who tell us that we can't vote our values. The values of our Catholic faith, our traditions, to me, are much, much more Latino than Chicago's Southside politics. You know, I think that's what I finally had to come to understand. I have a very hard time reconciling going to Mass on Sunday and voting pro-choice on Tuesday. I'm still the daughter of Mexican immigrants. My father is still a proud union member. But
Nikki.